Here is a very penetrating, sharp, and in-depth revelation of the truth about human personality and the truth about the world composition around you. I only want to ask you, the discussion will be of extreme relevance, importance. It is not beyond the grasp of anybody. You should be able to shed your inhibitions, undue preferences and prejudices, and allow the light of wisdom to enter and enrich you. Don't have curtains and walls while listening to the talk. Now I am asking you, will you be with me when I talk? Yes. How many people yes? Yes. Will you be with me? Yes. All of you? Yes. Then I feel encouraged. Only if you agree and you are prepared to accept what is revealed. After all, I am revealing it for your benefit. My idea is to reinforce you, strengthen you, enlighten you, make your life lighter, make your life more enjoyable, have confidence, have clarity, have sufficient resolve, be an embodiment of reconciliation, resilience, flexibility, and grow enough assimilative power. Your mind should grow more and more of assimilative power. Ashtavakra Samhita is extremely unique, forceful, and forthright. What did I say? It's very unique, forceful, and forthright. The statements are, the revelations are very sharp. They are conclusive, and they are paramount. Paramount. You cannot go beyond them. It takes the seeking mind, the seeker, straight to the inner hemisphere of your personality. See, in the whole world, everything around you, including your body, is outside and gross. Am I clear or not? Huh? Even your own body is outside. That is why you are able to see it. And it is gross. And everything around the body, the whole universe, including all the stars, heavenly bodies, all of them are gross, physical. If there is anything called the inner hemisphere, that hemisphere is only within your body. Do you agree or not? Everything outside in this world is outside. It's not inner. The inner is only available for access within one's own body when you are living. Ashtavakra Samhita reveals this inner hemisphere right from the start. It disallows any kind of a distraction, confusion, oscillation. It does not allow. Be focused. What is it that you want to know? Be focused on it. It dismisses all conventional norms and notions. Dismiss everything. It will not allow you to say, I am stressed, I cannot do it, I have to wait. They will never say. This is a truth presented before your intelligence. As light, when it comes before the eye see. The eye see the objects. Do you require any time? I switch on the light and all the objects are visible instantaneously. So before the intelligence, the light of wisdom is brought. Instantly you should begin to understand. Ashtavakra Samhita has only to speak about the self. Nothing else. Only the self. And what is the self? You yourself are. What you are, what I am, what another is. That self is the only subject of discussion here. It is the presence, inward to your body, which recognizes and comprehends the body, which employs the bodily organs. The self is no other. It is the inner presence, the inner permeation, which prevails all along, employing the body and bodily parts. Understand it, every organ. If the eyelids open and sights and colors and shapes are perceived, it is because of the inner presence. If the ear is able to hear, it is because of the inner presence. If your hands are raised or the legs are moving, it is because of the motivation, the impetus, the direction provided by the inner presence. Am I clear? What do you think of that presence? Can there be a moment of time when this inner presence becomes weak or absent from your body? You are always living in it, of it, from it, by it, and for it. When are you going to understand this? The body by itself is inert. Like any other object, like this book, it is inert, insentient. It is made active by the sentience that is permeating within the body. Understand this very clearly. Everything in this world is dissolved and dissoluble in the self. The whole world may try to enter me through the 5 sensory organs. When they enter me, my mind dissolves everything. Where is the sound after the eardrum? Where is the sight, shape and gigantic forms after the rays of light reflected from it touch the cornea and they pass through? I don't know whether I make sense to you. Huh? There are so many bodies sitting in my front. Light rays are reflected from you. They pass through the cornea. All of you are gross, so many in number. All of them, can they enter through the eye inside my heart? Can you physically enter into my heart? But do I not perceive them? So where is your grossness when I perceive you? Your grossness is dissolved into the self in me. You are all gross sitting there. Nothing enters me. When I perceive you, my perception is an inner process. My mind activated the eye. And the eye muscles and the eyeballs are contacted by the light rays reflected from the object. All of them enter inside, and in the inside, every gross form is dissolved into my mind and the self. Is my language clear? Yes. Huh? Yes. Please tell me. Yes. So many colors are there. So many shapes are there. So many 3-dimensional figures are there. All of you are there. When I see you, all of them, my mind dissolves into subtle images within me, subtle imprints within me. The entire universe, gross and physical as it appears, everything is dissolved into the self. Into the self. Into the self. We are discussing that. Understand, and be prepared to contemplate upon this wonderful self which dissolves the entire universe in the form of imprints. Every experience belongs to this self. Self is experience itself. You are trying to differentiate between experiences like what? Happy, unhappy, good, bad, virtue, sin, etc., etc. But everything is experience. This experience by its very nature is the nature of the self. The self itself is experiential. Experience is its nature. Everything else is an extension from the self. What did I say? When you wake up in the morning, this wakefulness, does it come from outside and settle in you? Or wakefulness itself is your own inside waking up and activating the sensory organs? When are you going to understand this? Early in the morning when we wake up, we are waking up and we are awakening the world perception for me. So my wakefulness is an extension and an extensional expression from me. Does my audience understand and agree? Yes. How many people? Then why don't you say yes all together? Yes. I have to teach you, primary class teach. Every day in our life, it is the self that is within you. It produces an extension. Wakefulness is an extension. Wakeful imprints are extensional in character. Nothing comes from outside into me. My own inside is grasping things in itself. You see, I cannot see an object even 1 millimeter away from. If the light rays come and do not touch the cornea, remain a little away, no vision will result. After touching the cornea, there is an image that is getting formed within. So the imprint or the image is formed by the mind, by the self, in itself. No object enters my system or your system. The objects remain where they are. The understanding, the realization, the experience, the becoming, all these are taking place within myself, within myself. Self-display, that alone is here, nothing else. Every imprint is made by the self. On the surface of the sea, there are a number of waves and breakers. I ask you a question. There is an ocean. A number of waves are there. Two questions I pose before you. Is the wave oceanal or the ocean wavel? Huh? All waves are nothing but the sea water. But the sea water is not the wave. It is far more than the wave. If the wave is the sea, all the impressions in your mind are no other than the mind. Self alone is there. Self alone is there. Where are the many that you are talking about? Early in the morning, you woke up. Later in the evening, you slept. You dreamt. And within all these three states, the entire world is perceived and also wiped off. So except you, the sleeper, the waker, the dreamer, you tell me, is there anything else in this world? If you sleep and others are wakeful, the wakeful people see the world, not others. So the world is an extension of our wakefulness. And sleep is a complete obliteration of the whole world. In dream, our own self projects an inner world, proving to you the capacity, I can create anything I want. Within the body, I will create United States. I will go to Pennsylvania. I will go to New York. I have gone anywhere and everywhere. With a new body, while the wakeful body is lying asleep here. The self shows its capacity. Everything is the self. Everything is the self. So where are many? Forget about. Stop speaking about many. Don't speak about knowledge, ignorance and delusion. Self is going to be deluded. It is going to be ignorant. You tell me whether there was any moment in your life when you forgot yourself. Huh? When you became unconscious, it was you who woke up and said, I was unconscious. Not that somebody else tells you. I had a blackout, I slept, I was unconscious. So is there any point of time when that I-ness vanishes from you? Huh? Why mild answer? No. I can also speak to you very moderately. Shall I close my eyes and start speaking to you? I am putting so much of vigor only to see that you are kept alert. So you should give me a much more vibrant answer. Say, there is no time when I ceases to exist. Certainly not. Then what is this bondage? The self is bound by something else? Is there any something else? Throughout the life, is it not you and you alone coming into extended expression and finally withdrawing into sleep? What is there further there? What is meant by prarabdha? What is meant by sanchita? And what is meant by agami? For whom? The self alone is there. It has never been bound. It has never become actional or non-actional. It remains ever the same. You started saying I right from your young age. Now you are 60, 70, 80 or 85. You still continue to say I. Please let me know whether there was anything added to the I or taken away from the I. Huh? When you married, were you multiplied by 2? 2 I's you became? When you had 3 children, were you multiplied by 5? Then what is the trouble? Huh? Where is the other? So forget about all those things. Do not talk. We speak about Jivan Mukti, Videha Mukti, Kaivalyam. What is all this? Concepts of the mind. Only concepts. In all these concepts, the conceiving mind alone is present. No concept is ever there. When I say 2, where are the 2? When I say infinity, show me the infinity. When I say shunya or void, where is the void? These are all concepts. When we say God, it is a concept. When we say dog, it is a concept. Some concepts are referring to the gross things. Some concepts are referring to the subtle things. Some refer to the state of the mind. Some refer to the intelligence and the knowledge or non-knowledge of it. All these are concepts, concepts and concepts alone. All these are existing only because of you, yourself. In the absence of the self, everything will topple, everything will tumble, nothing will survive. Any reference to many or multiple, it is sheer nonsense and delusion. Utter ignorance. Drop all of them. Do not engage in futile imagination. Am I talking to you, sense? Yes. Do you like to hear? Yes. Huh? Yes. Or I speak only for myself? Everything is futile. Dismiss it all. Dismiss it all. Be focused on the one, the seer, the experiencer, the I, from which everything is born, to which everything gets dissolved. There is nobody called a performer and a non-performer. Spiritual concepts like karta and bhokta. To divide things like pratyaksha, paroksha and aparoksha, all these different forms of knowledge, what? Everything can only belong to the self and nothing else. You cannot say ignorance is there. What? Ignorance? When you say, I am ignorant of it, when you say, I am ignorant of it, that being ignorant of it is a knowledge of yours. Not clear? Huh? After all, this is a knowledge. I know about it, I do not know about it. Knowing about it and not knowing about it, both are from your point of view, your knowledge. Is it not? No. Huh? We call darkness. I say there is no darkness. What is meant by darkness? You tell me. You open your eyes and you say, I am unable to see anything, therefore you call it dark. For you to determine any object, the presence of any object in front of your eyes, you know the first condition is light should be present. So when you refer to say it is dark, I want you to tell me very clearly, see it properly and then say whether it is darkness or not. Now in order to make you see, I bring light and then say, show me your darkness. Not clear? See, is it all logic or is it a fact? No answer. See, with the eye for determining the presence of any object, there should be the presence of light. Now you are saying it is dark without any light. Bring the light in and examine it, then there will be no darkness at all. Then what is it that you call darkness without examining in the presence of light? So these are all pseudo concepts. Pseudo concepts. Understand that the conceiving mind is the reality here. Concepts can be anything. It can be plus, it can be minus, it can be addition, it can be alteration. The whole universe never swells, it never gets reduced. It remains the same. When a tree is born and when a tree grows, to the extent the tree has grown, chemical substances from the earth have been drawn, taken away. Air also taken, water also taken, sunlight also taken. So in totality, the total mass of the universe never changes, whatever happens within the universe. Am I clear? Why don't you think in such manner? Don't be constricted in your thoughts. Understand it very well, very well. So there is neither ignorance nor knowledge. There is neither bondage nor freedom. There is no creation and no dissolution. All these are implying change. And the self is changeless. In the changeless self, how is it that these changeful elements are there? In the presence of light, how can there be darkness at all? So it requires a very clear analysis. Now all these things are discussed. I am not going into further expressions because all that I have told you is part of our tradition, traditional concepts. Now it is this subject that we are going to discuss. So Janaka first of all raises a question. You know what is the question? Katham jnanam avapnoti, katham muktir bhavishyati, vairagyam cha katham praptam etad bruhi mama prabho. Katham jnanam avapnoti katham muktir bhavishyati. Vairagyam cha katham praptam etad bruhi mama prabho. My dear Lord, please tell me, katham jnanam avapnoti. How is real spiritual wisdom, enlightenment gained, acquired? Katham muktir bhavishyati. How can liberation or ultimate freedom and relaxation, redemption, how can it be had? Vairagyam cha katham praptam. How can dispassion be cultivated and gained in ample measure, which is necessary for gaining spiritual wisdom? Etad bruhi mama prabho. Oh my dear Lord, please instruct me, enlighten me on these. So 3 fundamental questions he raises. What are they? Katham jnanam avapnoti, katham muktir bhavishyati, vairagyam cha katham praptam, etad bruhi mama prabho. How can spiritual wisdom be attained? When will result liberation or redemption? Our mind should be in a state of restfulness, shedding all agitation, being freed of all constrictions. There should be no feeling of insufficiency. There should be no necessity to make an effort to fill up the deficiency. I must feel full, poised, relaxed, abundant, sufficient in myself. Everything proceeds from the mind, all activity, all interaction. So the mind feels insufficient. That is why it takes up an activity or interaction. How can I get a sufficiency in my mind? I call it psychological sufficiency, an inner abundance, affluence and opulence, as a result of which you will never yearn for, crave for anything else in the form of an addition or an acquisition. How can that be had? Vairagyam cha katham praptam. Everything in this world, including my body, is ephemeral. Ephemeral. It's all transitory. The transitory things cannot be my eternal gain. So I must develop a new attitude of dispassion towards everything that is transitory, including my own body. So these are the 3 items: knowledge, liberation and dispassion. You know what Ashtavakra says in answer? Ashtavakra said, Mukti michhasi chettada vishayan vishavatyaja kshamarjavadaya tosha satyam piyushavadbhaja. Mukti michhasi chettada vishayan vishavatyaja.